Hello and welcome to this video. There will be no slides, so no nothing. I have nothing to show in this video. This video is about the advice I want to give to young programmers because in my 20 years of career, I have made lots of mistakes, and from those mistakes, I have gained valuable experience. There were some people who guided me, and probably I could not take up the guidance. I did what I wanted to, and in doing so, I made lots of mistakes. So the advice will be of two types of for will be for two types of people. One, those who are new students in college or are in school, and second advice will be to those who have just joined the industry or have little experience, maybe 2-3 years or so. So obviously this advice is not for people who know what they have to do. This is for those who do not know what to do. So we consider the first group of people who are in college. So suppose you are a fresher or second year, maybe third year. Okay, so if you want to build a career in computer science, then there are two aspects of building career in computer science. One is problem solving ability, and second is knowledge. Now you have to decide that what you want to do in computer science. There are several disciplines of programming. For example, do you want to become a web developer or a mobile developer, maybe a systems developer who writes infrastructure software, a database developer? So actually you can specialize only in one area. Probably you want to do AI because AI is quite hot right now. Okay, maybe you want to develop websites because websites will be always there. Perhaps you want to become a game developer because the challenges of games and design and development and the fantasy of games interests you. So irrespective of what field you want to go in, what you should do is you should grasp the fundamentals of computer science properly. What I mean is there are certain subjects you should study carefully. The subjects are data structure and algorithms, automata theory, compiler design, databases, artificial intelligence, CPU architecture, software architecture, and microprocessors. So these are the 8 or 10 core subjects of computer science which you should grasp. So for example, you can study for databases Sudarshan and Korth. So Sudarshan and Korth's database system concepts is a very good book. And once you have read it, maybe you can start dabbling with PostgreSQL because it is very advanced open source SQL database. And then maybe you can study the source code of MongoDB, ScyllaDB, Cassandra, and Redis. So you will get an idea of those kind of things. Now suppose you want to you are interested in compilers. So what you can do is you can study the Dragon book, and you study formal languages and automata theory. You learn Flex and Bison. Flex is replacement of Lex and Bison is replacement of Yak. And you read the Dragon book, and then what you should do is you should start learning LLVM, because LLVM is the modern compiler toolchain with which you can create new compilers, and then you can start making toy languages. Start with small languages like BrainFuck, and slowly you graduate to more complex language. For example, you start with Lua. Lua is a very simple scripting language. Study the code of Lua interpreter. Okay, then you develop a bit complex. You get into a bit complex language like Guile, which is a scheme dialect. You study the interpreter of while, and then you progress towards compiled languages. In compiled languages, you can start with C. C is small language. You can easily implement single-handedly compiler. So the idea is to get real-world experience. Okay. The current software which is in use, you have to know that your college education is just not enough. And about the problem solving ability, if you want to get a good job in a product company like Microsoft, Google, Apple, Facebook, and those kind of companies, any reputed company, the interview will always consist of data structure and algorithms. At least for, I believe, 10, 12 years of experience, people have to know data structure and algorithms very well. And you don't have to blindly practice it. Okay? You try to solve the problem yourself. Now, whenever you are presented with a problem, there are two types of problem. There are three types of problem actually. One is easy, second is hard, and the third is moderate but lengthy. Okay, so the first category you should always do yourself. Moderate but lengthy you should do yourself. Hard problems, if you cannot crack it, look at the solution. Okay, there is no harm in looking at the solution. Try different approaches. Okay, say for example a problem is given, try to figure out which data structure should I use. Is it going to be a tree or a graph or linked list or stack? Try to find the proper data structure, and then you try to do it in a brute force way. And then slowly, as you will gain experience, you will start developing new ideas. The more problems you will solve, the more number of ideas you will have, because from experience, if suppose you solve 10 problems with 10 different techniques, for the 11th problem, because you have experience with 10, you might get a new idea. That's how human brain works. That's what this machine learning and deep learning is all about. So you have to focus on two things. One is the field of interest you have, and second is the data structure algorithms for interviews and for problem solving ability. Suppose you want to become a web developer. If you want to become a web developer, then you should know the industry. In industry, I don't know about US, but in India it is mostly Java or .NET at corporate level. Some companies work in Python, some in Ruby on Rails. Very few companies work in PHP, but there are quite a lot of good PHP software already written. WordPress, Joomla, Drupal. There are very good frameworks. Laravel and V are there. And PHP as a language has improved a lot in last few years. So you choose one language and then you start getting skill in those. To learn the language, best way is to find the best books on Stack Overflow. What books are recommended? Go through those books. After going through those books, go through the library documentation of that particular language. Start writing code. Start doing simple stuff. For complex stuff, read other people's code. For example, suppose you have spent 6 months learning Java, okay, and you have learned Spring Boot in another 2-3 months. You have worked with Spring Boot. Then the best way would be to open the Spring Boot source code. Then you can possibly learn Vertex framework, and then look at the Vertex source code, look at Hibernate source code, look at JDBC driver source code. So that way you will become a far better programmer. So this is the advice for people who are students in the college. Now, people who are already professional, if you are already in a good product company, very nice, congratulations to you. But if you are not in a very good company, then you should start learning data structure and algorithms. And the other advice also applies to you, but you should not study all the required computer science basics. You need not study compilers, data structure, all the subjects. You focus on one area which is your field of interest. Suppose you are interested in AI, then you focus on Python, learn libraries like NumPy, Pandas, Scikit, TensorFlow, PyTorch, Keras, and then you progress towards Mojo, start doing work in Mojo, and explore different frameworks in Python. If you are already a machine learning engineer and you want to learn more, possibly you can learn web development, because most of the AI software is now deployed through web. There is a web interface. You might not actually need to do the front end, but you can learn back end. Possibly Django or Fast API or Flask, you can learn these frameworks, because web development is relatively easier, far easier than doing the AI work. AI work requires a lot of knowledge and problem solving ability. Web development does not require so many complexities. If you want to do backend development of web, then you should know several databases. You should know one of SQL databases, preferably PostgreSQL. Then you can learn a column database like FilaDB or Cassandra. You can learn one document database like Couchbase or MongoDB. There are new databases also coming like SerialDB. So the core idea of being a professional developer is that you need to expand your skill set in your field of interest. If you already have skill set in your field of interest, you can go deeper. Either you can go deeper or you can spread in breadth. So the whole idea is to keep learning. Usually you should spend 2 hours every day to learn something new. If you don't spend 2 hours every day, and possibly more on weekends, maybe 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday, 8 hours weekend. So that gives you 18 hours per week. If you spend 18 hours per week on learning new stuff, you will see a change in yourself, in your knowledge level, and the ability to solve harder problems. You will see it improves drastically. If you are already good at data-driven algorithms, another way you can improve in your problem solving ability is by doing hard mathematics. If you solve very hard problems in mathematics, your brain gets wired to solve problems in a different way. You get unique approaches to a problem. Remember that in classical times, most of the computer scientists were mathematicians. Mathematics has a very strong relationship with computer science. So if you are good at mathematics, that will help you a lot in when you go deep into computer science. For example, if when you go deep into cryptography or distributed network or blockchain, then you will see the benefit of learning the mathematics. Even in AI, you need to know a lot of mathematics. So reading good books, read the documentation, learn libraries, know your language, and then you have a choice that you can go deep into one field or you can spread into breadth. So you can either be a generalist or a specialist. I will leave that to you. Some people like to be a generalist, some people like to be a specialist. There is place for both of them. So that's the advice I want to give. One more thing is that if you want to start your own company, then please don't start your company immediately after graduation. And even more important thing in starting a company is make sure that you have a team. So one of the most difficult things in in getting a company started is a bunch of good people coming together, and they should have same vision. They should be like-minded but complementary in skill set. It does not matter even if skills overlap. That's all right, as long as your ideas gel well together. You have good rapport with each other. It's fine. If you are alone, don't try to start a company. It will be very, very difficult. If you have 2 or 3 people with you, don't start a company. You need a bigger team. So and even if you have a team, it would be best that you earn some industry experience, maybe work 4 5 years in a job at a good company, learn how real world operates, and then do a startup. Right out of college, I will not recommend to start a company. I mean, some people have done it, but the percentage of those people are very little. Unless you have backup, financial backup. US is different. The scenario in US is different. There is social security, and there is a lot of facility there. For example, when Jeff Bezos started, or Sergey Brin or Larry Page started, they had a lot of financial help. That is not the case in India or in poor countries like Pakistan or Philippines or Bangladesh. You don't have that kind of financial backup with you. If you have financial backup, then very good. You can go ahead and start. But if you don't have financial backup, make sure you have enough money to survive possibly 6 months to a year, and then go into a startup. And remember, if you cannot focus on one thing for long term, then you don't do a startup. In a startup, it is required that you focus on one piece for a long period of time. Usually, it will take at least good 5 years before your business starts making profit. So keep in mind that when doing the startup. So I guess that's all I have to say. And I'm sorry because there would be some horn noise in between. It's daytime and lots of vehicles pass nearby my house and they honk a lot. So I apologize for that. So feel free to subscribe the channel and like the video. I keep making such videos other than my regular programming videos. So I want the videos to reach more and more students and working professionals. So if you subscribe and like or possibly share, then it will help a lot to others. All right. So thanks a lot for listening to me. Have a nice day.